Hi everyone, I'm here today with a layout tutorial. This is going to be a single page layout featuring this really beautiful carousel horse paper piecing. And you can get this from Little Scraps of Heaven Designs. I recently became a design team member and I'm really excited because she has some gorgeous, gorgeous paper piecing files. So I will be putting this one together on camera because you guys had some questions with how to put them together and how they differ from Cricut cuts, so I'll be doing that. I used some regular craft cardstock, and then all of my other paper is from the Die Cuts with a View French Country stack. I wanted this layout to be really kind of feminine and delicate, and these are almost like shabby chic colors. You know, it has like the pink and the mint green and the light blue and some script writing. It was just really perfect. So when I put paper piecings together, I always like to have the final image. Sometimes I print it out, but most of the time I just open it up on my computer and look at it as I'm putting them together. But I thought with the video, it would be helpful if you guys could see, you know, the final product and then how we're putting it together. So what I like to do is I always start from the bottom and work my way up, meaning that anything that's on the bottom layer, like this, the carousel pole, we're going to start with that and then build our way up. So I like to use a mixture of liquid glue, like I have my Zig 2A pen, I have my zip dry glue, and then when I can, I like to use my ATG tape. And this paper, I can already tell is going to be a little bit trickier to put together because it has some embossing and glitter on it. And sometimes when you put liquid glue on top of glitter paper, it doesn't adhere as well. So I'm going to try to use my ATG tape as much as possible. The other thing I like to do, my craft mat has a grid on it, and I like to use the grid to line up my pieces, and it helps me just to get them a little bit straighter and more precise. So this takes a little bit of practice, especially if you're used to the Cricut, because most Cricut cuts come with a background shape, like it would cut out this entire thing and then you would build the layers. As you can see, paper piecing files come in pieces, so it's almost like putting a puzzle together. But once you do it once or twice, it's very easy, and I could put these together just as quickly as Cricut cuts now. I probably won't be able to do this one as quickly because I'm on video and, you know, a little bit of everything will go wrong because that's what happens, but oh well. Now I have a little pink piece that goes at the bottom. I'm going to kind of overlap it. And I actually liked the added color, so I cut a second one to put on top, even though it's not in the final image. But that's the nice thing, is that you can alter these however you want. And they are more customizable than the Cricut cuts because, you know, the Cricut cut you gotta layer it on top of each other so you can mix and match and the different cuts and stuff, but it's hard to actually take individual pieces from the cuts and change them around. I'm going to put this to the side and let it dry a little bit, and I'm going to work on my horse. I'm going to put her together and then I'll attach her to the pole once that's finished. So a lot of times I just kind of play around. I put my pieces together to see how they go before I start gluing anything down. Now for something like the back leg, it's peeking out from under our horse. So I find the best thing to do is actually put this down on my mat and then place my horse over it. And then kind of move it around. And if you look at the picture, you can see which parts of the leg are hidden. So that way you know what to put glue on. It makes it a little bit easier. And it's also nice to use a glue that you know will either dry clear or that you can rub off when it dries. That's why I like the zip dry, because once it dries, you can just take your finger and it'll come right off. So you don't have like a big glue residue spot. Next I have my hooves. So again, I'm going to glue the top part of the hoof. It's the part that's going to be hidden, and then I'm going to take my piecing and just kind of bring it down on top of the hoof. To me, it's easier to line it up that way. And then I can move it around and tweak it. I think that looks good. So next I'm going to put on the bridle. And underneath the bridle is this little cheek part. So I'm going to tear that first. And then there's a little eyeball that goes right above that. Okay, and the bridle part hangs off a little bit, but that's okay because the hair, or the mane, is going to cover it. I'm going to adjust my eye because the mane is covering it up a little bit too much. Okay, I should have added my saddle first, but that's okay because I'm going to slip it right under the mane. And then we need to add our tail. It's almost like this piece is going to tuck underneath of the horse, or the hindquarters, and then the curl is going to come around. So just need to shift that around until it looks right. And then finally we need to add our ears. So this is going to tuck just a little bit underneath of the mane. And then this one is going to go behind the mane. I'm just going to peek out a little bit. And now we can add our horse to our carousel pole. And do it right about here in the middle. And then I'm going to tuck this foot underneath of the pole, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue on there. So first we're going to place it, and I'm actually going to add a little bit right here on the mane, so that it'll attach as well. And then I'm going to pick it up and just tuck this under. So there's our carousel horse, and I know this seems a little bit time consuming, but it's mostly because you have to let the glue dry and just kind of hold it in place while you get it perfect. But like I said before, this paper isn't the easiest paper to work with because of all the glitter and the embossing on it, so it takes a little bit longer to dry. So we're going to put this aside and we're going to put together the base of our layout.